Native American female chiefs. Welcome to Native Legends and History Stories. Join us as we uncover the hidden chapters of America's past that textbooks left behind. Subscribe now to discover the extraordinary tales of forgotten heroes who shaped our history. The sound of hooves thundered across the Montana plains as Crow warriors pursued their target, not a mighty buffalo or an enemy brave, but a small girl of just 10 years old. The year was 1816, and this moment of violence would spark one of the most remarkable transformations in Native American history. The child they captured that day would rise to become woman chief, the legendary leader who would command 160 lodges and strike fear into the hearts of her enemies. The Wild West has long captivated our imagination with tales of rugged cowboys, ruthless outlaws, and military heroes. Names like Billy the Kid, Wyatt Earp, and General Custer echo through time, their stories retold countless times in books and films. Yet beneath this well-worn narrative lies a deeper, richer history, one of Native American warriors, whose incredible feats rival any frontier legend. We know of Pocahontas, who bridged two worlds in colonial America. We've heard of Sacagawea, who guided Lewis and Clark through treacherous territories. The military genius of Red Cloud and the fierce resistance of Geronimo have earned their place in history books. But for every celebrated name, dozens of extraordinary stories remain untold, hidden in the shadows of time. Among these forgotten tales, none are more compelling than those of female warriors who defied the conventions of their era. These weren't just fighters, they were brilliant strategists who led men into battle, negotiated treaties, and fought for their people's survival. During one of the most turbulent periods in American history, their achievements become even more remarkable when we consider the dual battles they fought, against external enemies and against the gender expectations of their time. In the vastness of the Montana Territory, where the story of woman chief begins, the Gros Ventre people had made their home for generations. They were part of the great Algonquian-speaking nations, descendants of a historic split with the Arapaho tribe. Near the Great Lakes around 1000 BC, over centuries they had migrated westward, developing their own distinct culture, while maintaining their ancient traditions. The future woman chief was born into this proud heritage. Around 1806 her birth. Name and parents' identities have been lost to time, like many details of Native American life from this era. This absence of personal history makes her later achievements even more intriguing. How did a child with no recorded lineage rise to become one of the most powerful leaders of her time? The answer begins with a devastating raid in 1816. Crow warriors known for their exceptional horsemanship and military prowess descended upon her village. In the chaos of battle, they spotted something unusual in the young girl they captured, a fierce spirit that would later define her legacy. What started as a violent abduction would set in motion an extraordinary story of transformation, resilience, and leadership. The Crow warriors who took her as a prisoner could never have predicted that their captive would one day stand among them as an equal, then rise above them as a leader. They couldn't have known that this small girl would grow into a warrior so renowned that her achievements would challenge not just the gender norms of Native American society, but our modern understanding of leadership and power in the American frontier. Within the Crow tribe, woman chief held a unique position as a two-spirit member, a designation for those who embodied characteristics of both genders. Unlike others with this status, who alternated between male and female clothing, she maintained her own distinct appearance. She wore traditional women's dresses during daily activities in the village, changing only for battle when she donned specially crafted war garments designed for mounted combat and swift movement. The death of her adopted father marked a crucial turning point in her life. He had been more than just a mentor. He had taught her archery, horsemanship, and hunting from her earliest days in the tribe. When he died, she stepped forward to lead his lodge, taking on responsibilities that typically fell to male warriors. She managed hunting parties, organized camp movements, and made decisions about tribal matters. Her first major test as a leader came unexpectedly. While camped near a small fort that sheltered both Crow families and white settlers, Scouts reported an approaching Blackfoot war party. Woman Chief immediately organized the defense. She positioned warriors at key points around the settlement, placed archers on higher ground, and prepared the horses for rapid deployment. When the Blackfoot attacked, Woman Chief led the countercharge herself. Witnesses described how she rode at the front of her warriors, firing arrows with deadly accuracy, while controlling her horse with just her knees, a skill she had perfected during years of buffalo hunting. She struck down 3 Blackfoot warriors in the initial clash, her arrows finding gaps in their defenses as they charged. The battle turned when Woman Chief maneuvered her fighters to split the Blackfoot formation. She led one group in a frontal assault while sending a second unit to attack from the flank. The Blackfoot caught between two forces and, surprised by the tactical sophistication of the defense, began to retreat. Woman Chief pursued them until she was certain they wouldn't return, then led her warriors back to the settlement. But she wasn't satisfied with merely defending. Within days, she had assembled 50 of her best warriors for a retaliatory campaign. They rode north into Blackfoot territory, moving at night and hiding during the day. Woman Chief developed a specific tactic. Her warriors would split into small groups, target multiple Blackfoot camps simultaneously, and focus on capturing horses, the most valuable possession in plains warfare. In one notable raid, she personally led a group of 15 warriors into a Blackfoot camp of over 100 people. They moved in during the darkest hour before dawn, when even the guards were fighting sleep. Woman Chief and her warriors cut loose 30 of the finest horses and led them away when pursued. They split into pre-planned groups, each taking different routes back to Crow territory. The Blackfoot, forced to divide their pursuit forces, failed to recapture any of the stolen horses. These successes earned her formal recognition from the Council of Chiefs. In a ceremony attended by representatives from all 160 Crow lodges, they gave her the name by way, Chi-Chi Woman Chief. She was appointed as a lodge chief, but her influence quickly grew beyond this initial position. Through continued military successes and wise decisions in council meetings, she rose to become the third-ranked chief among all the Crow leaders. Her growing power brought personal prosperity as well. She married 4 wives, each bringing additional resources and alliances to her lodge. She built the largest horse herd in her band, counting over 100 animals, including many prized war horses captured from enemies. Her lodge became known for its abundance, with well-made weapons, fine clothing, and plenty of food stored for winter. The signing of the Fort Laramie Treaty in 1851 brought new challenges. The agreement, made between the U.S. government and various tribes, including the Crow, Sioux, and Arapaho, established specific territories for each tribe. Woman Chief participated in the negotiations, speaking for her people's interests. The treaty included provisions for trade, safe passage through territories, and the establishment of government schools. However, it also required tribes to remain within their designated lands, restricting the traditional nomadic lifestyle of plains peoples. The years following the Fort Laramie Treaty brought increasing conflict between tribes along the upper Missouri River. While most leaders struggled to maintain control over their territories, Woman Chief emerged as a skilled negotiator. She traveled between hostile camps, using her reputation as a warrior and her diplomatic skills to forge peace agreements. Her most significant achievement was establishing a truce with her birth tribe, the Gros Ventre, whom she hadn't seen since her capture as a child. During these negotiations, she spoke in both Crow and Gros Ventre languages, drawing on her childhood memories to bridge the cultural gap. She arranged trading agreements between the tribes, established shared hunting grounds, and created protocols for resolving disputes. These efforts made her even more valuable to the Crow leadership, who increasingly relied on her diplomatic abilities. However, the peace she worked so hard to build proved fragile. In the spring of 1858, while traveling with a small band of warriors near Fort Union, Woman Chief's party encountered a group of Grosvenor raiders. Despite carrying peace tokens and wearing visible symbols of her diplomatic status, her group was ambushed. The attack came swiftly. Dozens of warriors emerged from a ravine, firing rifles and charging on horseback. Woman Chief organized her warriors into a defensive circle, but they were outnumbered 3-1. As she fought to protect her man, a Groventer bullet struck her in the chest. Her warriors managed to fight their way to Fort Union, carrying their wounded leader with them, but the injury proved fatal. Woman Chief died within hours, her last words reportedly being instructions for maintaining peace between the tribes. The accounts of Woman Chief's life vary widely. U.S. Army officers stationed at frontier forts described her commanding presence during negotiations. Edwin Denig, a fur trader who knew her personally, documented her military achievements and leadership style. Some white observers compared her to mythical Amazon warriors, though these accounts often exaggerated her physical prowess. What's clear from military records and tribal oral histories is that she was an exceptional leader who transformed from captive to chief through her own abilities. As Woman Chief's story ended, another remarkable warrior was making her mark further north. Running Eagle, known to her people as Potomacan, was born in the early 1800s in the borderlands between southern Alberta and Montana. She belonged to the Blackfeet Nation, specifically the Piikani Band, whom white settlers called the Piegan tribe. Running Eagle's early life reflected the complex dynamics of gender roles in Native American society. As the eldest of 5 children, with 2 brothers and 2 sisters, she showed an early preference for traditionally male activities. She wore boys' clothing and expressed interest in hunting and warfare rather than domestic tasks. Her mother strongly opposed these choices, fearing they would bring shame to the family and prevent her daughter from finding a suitable marriage. Her father, however, saw things differently. A respected warrior himself, he recognized Running Eagle's natural abilities and strong spirit breaking with tradition. He began training her alongside her brothers. He taught her to handle both traditional weapons and the newly acquired firearms that were changing plains warfare. She learned to shoot accurately from horseback, track game, and use terrain for tactical advantage. Running Eagle's training was put to the test during a buffalo hunt when she was barely 16. Their hunting party was pursuing a large herd across the prairie when Assiniboine raiders attacked. The battle quickly turned against the Pecan, as the Assiniboines' superior numbers forced them back. During the chaos, Running Eagle's father was shot from his horse, the bullet striking his leg and leaving him exposed to enemy fire. Without hesitation, Running Eagle broke from the defensive line. She rode directly into the crossfire, arrows and bullets whizzing past her. Reaching her father's position, she leaped from her horse and helped him mount, then ran alongside the horse, using it as cover while leading it back to safety. This act of courage, witnessed by the entire hunting party, would mark her first step toward becoming a legendary warrior. After the daring rescue of her father, Running Eagle's reputation grew rapidly within the Piikani camp. Warriors who witnessed her actions spread tales of her courage, leading to an unprecedented celebration. The tribe's victory songs echoed through the night, and warriors performed the sacred scalp dance to honor her achievement, a ritual typically reserved for male warriors. Yet amid the celebrations, whispers of disapproval circulated among some of the tribe's women, including her own mother, who saw her actions as a dangerous departure from tradition. The celebration marked a deepening divide in Running Eagle's family. While warriors sought her out to learn her techniques for mounted combat, her mother grew increasingly concerned about the path her daughter had chosen. The tension reached its peak when her mother fell ill, her condition worsening as she watched her daughter move further from the traditional role she had envisioned for her. Tragedy struck when Running Eagle's father, her strongest supporter, died in a fierce battle against Crow warriors. The loss devastated her mother, whose illness and heartbreak proved too much to bear. Within weeks of her husband's death, she too passed away, leaving Running Eagle as the sole provider for her younger siblings. At 17, Running Eagle faced a choice between domestic duties and her warrior calling. After attempting to manage both responsibilities, she made a practical decision. She hired a respected widow in the tribe to care for her siblings, paying her with portions of the horses and goods she would capture in raids. This arrangement allowed her to continue her warrior path while ensuring her family's care. Her next major test came when Crow raiders struck their camp, making off with several prized horses. A group of Pakuni warriors quickly organized a retaliatory raid, planning to strike back before the Crow could reach their own territory. Running Eagle, learning of the planned counterattack, silently prepared for battle. She gathered her father's rifle, a weapon she had practiced with countless times, filled her quiver with freshly fletched arrows, and followed the war party at a distance. Several hours into their pursuit, the war party's leader spotted her trailing them. He immediately called a halt, confronting Running Eagle when she rode up to join them. "Women do not belong on raids," he declared, ordering her to return to camp. Running Eagle stood her ground, her hand steady on her father's rifle. When the leader threatened to cancel the entire raid if she didn't leave, she met his gaze and delivered a response that would be riddled for years. "Then I will track them alone and bring back our horses myself." Her determination and the memory of her previous exploits swayed the warriors. They continued their pursuit, with Running Eagle among them, following the Crow raiders' trail through the rugged terrain. When they located the Crow camp shortly before dawn, Running Eagle proved her worth again. While the other warriors created a diversion on the camp's eastern edge, she circled around to the horse herd. Moving with exceptional stealth, she approached the guards from downwind. Her first shot took down one guard silently with an arrow, while the second fell before he could raise an alarm. Moving quickly through the pre-dawn darkness, she cut loose 11 horses, including several of the stolen Pakuni mounts. The return journey proved equally dangerous. Running Eagle volunteered for the first watch while her exhausted companions rested. Her vigilance paid off when she detected two Crow warriors attempting to reclaim their horses in the night. Without waking her companions, she tracked the would-be thieves through the darkness. Using skills learned from years of hunting, she moved silently through the underbrush until she was within arrow range. Both Crow warriors fell without raising an alarm, their bodies discovered only when she woke the next guard for his watch. After Running Eagle's successful raid against the Crow, the Pakuni camp erupted in celebration. Warriors recounted her stealth and precision in taking down the guards,